Now, deadly violence has erupted once again in Afghanistan following the unintentional burning of Qurans last month by coalition forces. Now, 2 Americans were killed earlier today by an Afghan soldier in retaliation to that incident, bringing the number of American dead to 6. And this tragic news comes exactly 1 day after the president claimed that his ridiculous apology actually helped to, quote, calm things down. Watch this.
The reason that it was important is the same reason that the commander on the ground, General Allen, apologized, and that is to save lives and to make sure our troops who are there right now are not placed in further danger.
It's hard to tell. Do you think it has improved it with that apology?
It calmed things down. We're not out of the woods yet.
Now, with the news that 2 or more Americans were assassinated today on Afghan soil, I would say it's time for America to start demanding apologies. And joining me now, Fox News contributor Liz Cheney. Do you think the president's comments calm things down? Look, I want to roll video as you're answering this question. Yeah. Because you see thousands in the streets. You see more murders taking place. These are Afghan soldiers killing Americans. And the president's apologizing because extremists were passing notes and desecrating and writing in a Quran.
Yeah, Sean, you know, this is really this president's default position, I'd say. First, to apologize for America, and then secondly, to claim outsized credit for his words. And I think that, you know, in a situation like this was an accidental act. I certainly would have preferred to have seen the apology come from the folks on the ground. I think that having President Obama step up here, you know, was simply, frankly, the latest wrong action in this policy he's undertaken in Afghanistan.
Yeah, Liz, I'd like to see I may even disagree with you here. The Qurans were desecrated according to Islamic law, and, you know, you're not supposed to write in the Quran. These books were in the library. Extremists were passing notes to one another. What are we supposed to do with those Qurans at that point?
No, I think you're right, Sean. I think that the point here was, you know, if something had happened that was giving offense, then I can understand somebody on the ground where it happened saying, we're sorry, this was an accident. You know, it looked to me like perhaps these Qurans were partially burned. I'm not sure what an appropriate way to destroy them would have been. I completely agree with you that we should have destroyed them. That when you've got Qurans being used as a way to pass messages, that's clearly something that we can't stand for.
But you know, where's the sense of proportionality? We've got dead American soldiers here, and I haven't seen an apology to America or the families of these soldiers, Liz.
No, and it's even worse. You know, I think if you look at, for example, at what Secretary Clinton has said, where, you know, she's used basically the same language. She said that she condemns in the strongest possible terms what happened here.
I've got that tape. And interestingly, she used the same exact words. I'll play them back to back. The first one's about the Koran burning, and the second one is about Assad and the murder of his own citizens in Syria. This is amazing. Almost identical words. Let's roll these tapes.
We deeply regret the incident that has led to these protests. We are condemning it in the strongest possible terms, but we also believe that the violence must stop. We continue to condemn in the strongest possible terms the absolutely deplorable actions that the Syrian government is taking against its own people. The violence must end immediately.
Thousands killed in that incident, and as we show this video, nothing's calmed down. It looks as the overreaction to this, to me, in light of what the truth is, which is that the extremists were passing notes, is amazing that our president and secretary of state would apologize for this.
You know, and I think, Sean, clearly the apology that's owed here is an apology by Hillary Clinton to the men and women in our armed forces. When you have a situation where she's condemning them for what is apparently an accident here, with the same language that she's using to condemn the butcher in Damascus, something is seriously awry, and I think she clearly owes an apology to everybody in uniform.
Now, speaking of Hillary, she was in Tunisia. She's asked the question, why do Democrats and Republicans support Israel? This answer got very little coverage. Watch this.
We noticed here in Tunisia that most of the candidates from both sides run towards the Zionist lobbies to gain their support. For a common Tunisian or common Arab citizen, how would you reassure and gain his trust again once, given the fact that you're supporting his enemy as well at the same time?
Well, first let me say, you will learn as your democracy develops that a lot of things are said in political campaigns that should not bear a lot of attention. There are comments made that certainly don't reflect the United States, don't reflect our foreign policy, don't reflect who we are as a people.
Wait a minute. When we say we support Israel, don't listen to that? What does he say?
I hope, Sean, every voter tonight who's watching your program remembers that. You know, let's assume that Secretary Clinton was speaking for herself, and perhaps her pro-Israel statements while she's been on the campaign trail, you know, running for president in 2008, perhaps those were just rhetoric. But I know for a fact that when you hear those from many, many Americans, myself included, the people who are running for president this time as Republicans, we understand the importance of a strong U.S.-Israeli relationship. It's outrageous that she would use that kind of language.
All right. Liz Cheney, and I'd like to see the administration. Mr. President, I know you say you don't watch cable. I don't believe you. It's time for you to demand an apology for the death of these American soldiers. Liz, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Sean.